Hello. Welcome to the, what day is it? Saturday. I almost said Thursday. Saturday, May 3rd, 2025. Financial Thing live stream on an unusual day, a Saturday, but calendar is what it is. Can't always be here on a Thursday. And this is going to be the last stream of May, as I am off on my holes. I'm off on my holidays. I'm going to go to the United Kingdom for a few weeks and take a bit of a summer break. So I've been practicing my accent. What you think? Is that pretty accurate, or do I sound like an American trying to do a Cockney accent? Having a laugh. Yes, so heading back to the UK. If anybody's at Gatwick Airport on May 10th, you may see me. Who knows? So, last stream of May. Looking forward to that. Having a couple of weeks off. But anyways, hope you guys are all doing well, and girls, whoever's watching, whether you're watching live or an archive version of this stream, welcome. Thanks for joining. Please hit that subscribe button. If you have not subscribed, you need to subscribe. Not everybody watches every week as a subscriber, which is very disappointing, but that's okay. I'm not going to hold it against you, but it'd be great if you could subscribe, hit that like button, all that good stuff. We are going to be talking peer-to-peer lending today a little bit. We're going to talk about the Lumpad update, the news that we have finally gotten from Lumpad that we've been waiting for such a long time for, finally arrived, so we'll go through that. We'll talk a little bit about Cufflink. We're going to talk about the conversation that I had with Narinder, former CEO of Cufflink that has now departed. I was able to have a chat with him. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about our conversation without going into too much detail. But nothing really unusual, but still an interesting conversation. We'll take a look at the Trading 212 portfolio, which has been revitalized. It had CPR and has been doing better. And a couple of questions from the mailbag, as always. Some Bitcoin news. And then we'll head out of here for the summer, at least. I hope you're having a summer holiday at some point. Are you going on a summer holiday this year? If you are, put it in the comments. I'd like to know where you are going and what you're doing for the summer. What do normal people do for the summer? I don't know. I'm a little bit concerned on coming to England when it's hot, because there's no air conditioning anywhere, and I'm used to being in the air conditioning. That's going to sound really like a first world problem. But does it get hot? I mean, it's been a while since I've been there in the summer. I usually come in the winter for Christmas and the cooler months, but May is pretty, I think things are warming up, right? So how do you handle the heat? Do I need to be prepared? Let me know. Anyway, quick hi to everybody in the stream and the chat. Peter Vince is here in a gloriously sunny week in Leatherhead. Paul Bagworth in Kenilworth. Colin Perry in the Peak District. Dave Dawson is here. And Chimpo Naughty is having a chimptaculous May Day. Well, it's not May Day, is it? I thought May Day was May 1st. Nah, who knows? Like I know anything. Anyway. If you didn't get a chance to check out last week's stream, we had the money platform, George Huntley live. I really enjoyed that conversation. So if you had a chance to go watch that, go watch it. It's cool. But let's crack right into it. I don't plan on being here that long today. It's Saturday. I got stuff to do before I leave to England. So let's get right into it. Oh, if you didn't see, by the way, the weather is, it's a very muggy 29 degrees today, cloudy, but a nice day too. The camera is a bit crooked and it's still jerking. I don't know why. It's not smooth. I have no idea why. Anyway. It is what it is. Let's get into a little bit of news. Am I too big? Maybe I should shrink myself down. I don't know. Should I? No, I'm just not going to mess with it. Twino, we've had some step downs and some step ups this week, but Twino CEO has stepped down. Helviges Henslis, I butchered his name, chief executive of the European Union's peer-to-peer lending platform Twino has stepped down from the role as of April the 24th, according to a note on the company's website. Henselis has left the firm in order to pursue new professional challenges. Norris Blocks, don't they have the greatest names? Norris Blocks from Latvia is going to be taking on the role of interim CEO. Blocks previously served as a member of the supervisory board at Twino from 2021 to 2022, and most recently was a chief product and innovation officer at Delphin Group in Latvia, so he knows peer-to-peer lending. Interesting. Folk to Folk has posted a 43% rise in profit. Look at Roy Warren, looking very majestic there in that picture. Record turnover. Folk to Folk has reported record turnover in its sixth consecutive year of profitability, boosted by strong investor demand. The United Kingdom peer-to-peer lending platform, which facilitates business loans secured against land and property, posted a 17% year-on-year increase in turnover to a whopping £6.16 million for the financial year ending 2025 January 31st. So for anybody that says financial peer-to-peer lending companies are not strong, perfect proof that they are doing well. I think you can go into a company's house and look at these numbers. Meanwhile, profit grew by 43% to 1.84 million. So what is that, about 20%? More than that, 23, 24%. It also paid dividends to shareholders for the fourth consecutive year. Folk to Folk said the year saw strong investor demand with high levels of reinvestment and new subscriptions in its IFISA. Our record results are a testament to the resilience of our business model, the strength of investor confidence, and the persistent demand from small and medium enterprise businesses across regional Britain for fair and flexible finance. That's a lot of F's. That's what Roy Warren said. There you go. Folk to Folk will publish its fully audited accounts in May 2025. Pretty cool. Let's talk about Cufflink. We have a new chief financial officer. There is the new CFO. Things have definitely shifted and changed at Cufflink since the departure of Narinder Kaur was announced. What was that, about a month ago? But this is Gurmit Raina. She is the CFO now of Cufflink. Raina, who's been working as a finance consultant at Cufflink, is the latest member of its board of directors, now led by co-founder Rowinda Binning as chief executive officer, CEO. She apparently has a wealth of experience. She's experienced in managing financial complex operations with a hands-on approach and innovative problem solving. She says she's delighted to join Cufflink's board as a CFO. And while we're talking about Cufflink, I did again have a chance to talk to Narinder. Last week we got on a call. We chatted for about 30 minutes, and I was very candid to ask him what was going on at Cufflink. You know, everybody kind of wanted to know, was there any things that should be known about the business? Was there any problems? Was there any issues? Well, so here's a real answer. He said to me, Lawrence, I departed on good terms with Cufflink, and he said to me that there was no issues with the business. They were just on two different pages about his view of the future and what Cufflink's other owner's view of the future was, and he decided it would be better for him to step away and find a different role, maybe something that he was more, shall I say, suited? I don't know if it's suited. I think he was well suited to Cufflink, but when people have two different views of the way, whether to go down road A or road B, sometimes it's better to step away and say, well, have my own views and opinions, and maybe this is not the way forward. So it was a mutual part ways on good terms. He said to me that there is nothing material wrong with Cufflink. Cufflink is fine as a business, and he was happy to have been there, and he's happy about the experience that he had being there for so long. But he decided to, just like Twino's CEO, depart to do something else. What that something else is, we don't know yet, but stay tuned. LHX, this has been a bit of a thorn in my side investment that I had started many, many moons ago and would happy to exit out, but and I've definitely wound down my investment in LHX, London House Exchange, which he changed its name from Property Partner a long time ago. So these updates are interesting because we get to see how many units are left, as they are pretty much selling everything that is in the portfolio that gets voted on by the own shareholders of those pieces of real estate to get sold. Sometime I'm seeing a trend that whenever they do come up for vote, that people are tending to want to exit, because honestly the investments have not been good. Some of them have made some money, but in general I think half of my portfolio is in the negative and has lost a lot of value over the years. The other half is in the positive, and it's really a wash as to how this has performed. I would say I probably haven't made any money. I haven't gotten any dividends for a long time from rentals. But you can see here March 2025, if we compare it to March 2024, they've got 138 units now that have been rented out versus 224. So almost 100 less. Vacant units for sale, they now have 45 for sale, and under offer vacant 73 units. So total current units that they own 260 versus a year ago at 359. So March of 2024 they had 359 units, all the way down from 2 years ago 442. So they do continue to sell these things off. They have sold 268 units so far, and what happens is, as these units get sold, they repay what they can to shareholders, and then it just kind of drips in. So as money comes in, I just withdraw. I have no interest in doing anything more with London House Exchange, unfortunately. I have to say, I thought that they were going to go and wind down the business. Just my own personal opinion, nothing I'd heard. Just they're not doing anything. They're not taking on any new investments. They're not offering anything new at the moment, as far as I could tell. And I do wonder how a company can survive like that. Maybe they have plans for the future. But they had 25 residential unit sales completed in Q1 of 2025, which is £4.7 million of value. Of the residential units sold in this quarter, 30% were London flats, which sold on average of 7.7% below purchase price, with the remaining 70% being regional properties, which sold 15.2% above purchase price. So you can see, some of the, depending on when you invested, I unfortunately took a lot of the shares in the London area and not as much in the regional side outside of London. So you can see how much was lost on that. And then lack of dividends also plays into that. They still have this mortgage problem that they're trying to get out from, but the total portfolio mortgage loan to value now is 42%. You see dividends right here. There has been no changes to dividend distributions this quarter. I don't think it's a lot. There is a little bit there. Now look at this. This is very interesting. LHX offers a Heritage Court mortgage bond, right? 10% interest per year, and they raised £457,325, and they're going to continue to do that. Spencer Parade mortgage bond that's been repaid, some of it. So yeah, I don't know. I guess there's people that are okay putting more money in. Maybe this is the owners of the business who are funding these things too. I don't know. but they are getting some money in to do it. But you can see here, it's just, yeah, it's not been a great experience for me personally, which is a shame. You know, ultimately, I want all of these companies to succeed. I don't have anything, you know, against them. I want everybody to be able to make money and for them to make money, and it's not been great. Moving on, let's talk about Lumpad, the big news. Yeah, we got a message just a few. When did this come in? April 28th. New software is now live. After all these promises, and it's been a little bit slow, but they finally delivered quarter. Are we quarter 2 now? Would that be considered quarter 1? I think that's quarter 1, right? They finally delivered the new software. They said, we are pleased to let you know that our new software is live, and now you can log into your Lumpad account again. Initially, the majority of benefits of this upgrade are behind the scenes, administrative, where many processes have now been automated to improve operational efficiency. Our new software is fully self-sufficient, which will enable us to grow the platform seamlessly and handle a much higher volume of investors and data moving forward. There are some immediate benefits to investors too, but the majority of these are planned over the coming months and will be rolled out as they are ready. We took the decision to launch the new software as it is now, with all the new items we have in the store to be added in due course, including our new iPhone and Android app. Here's some of the things to note. The previous Preference tab is now within the Transfers tab. You can select to automatically reinvest interest only if you wish and not new deposits. You can also select to automatically invest cash, i.e. new deposits you make. Here's the big one I think that most people were looking for. The £10 minimum transfer between accounts is no longer in place, with the minimum now being just a penny. This will slightly increase compounded returns, which will soon provide a table showing the benefit of automatically investing interest over the period of 1 to 5 years, in addition to simple interest rates as currently shown. So big news on that. There is new settings tab next to the login button where you can amend any of your details. You'll shortly be able to activate two-factor authentication from that page, so that's good. They've got a new loan data page which has been created for each loan, providing a clear picture of the loan data and your investment in each loan. This will be considerably upgraded to include more details in due course and will soon replace the current PDF loan report altogether. The live data will be expanded over the coming months to include much more information, including the split of funds across lending partners and additional aggregated data. If there is any specific data not currently shown you think would be useful, please let us know. So I'm sure everybody who is invested in Lumpad is really happy about the upgrades, especially this £10 minimum, which has been, I've always listed that as a negative on the review that I did for Lumpad, which I need to update because that is now not true. So I think this is just really great news. So I did log in to my Lumpad account, take a look around, and it does look better. It really does. Some of the graphical interface has been a little bit upgraded. It was always a pretty decent website, you know, as far as peer-to-peer lending websites go. I like the new live data display, which, you know, I use quite a lot. Let's take a look at that. It'll pull up because it's pulling up that data live. Is it data? Data? Look at that. 20 lending partners, still less than 1 day to estimated time to sell and to invest. 202.29 million pounds in loan value. So that's pretty cool. Let's see what else. There was, I think the table now is a little bit refined. There's more information that's being pulled into here. So I really like that too. As you can see, I have 3p that I just transferred from the Classic to the Premium account. So there's my total balance. If you were wondering how much I have in Lumpad, there you go. Full transparency, $10,163.99. There's a couple of things that I would like to see happen in Lumpad. Louis, if you're watching, there's one thing I'd like to be able to do. I want to be able to use both accounts, right? Premium and classic. And I don't think there's a way to do this, but one thing I would love to be able to do is if interest is paid from the premium account, I would like it to go into the classic account and for that balance to reinvest. And again, I don't know how to do that. I haven't been able to figure it out, but that would be one little tweak that I want to see. But other than that, I mean, the website's pretty good. It shows you can go to my loan book and see the table layout looks a little bit different now. And they've got a lot more information on loan updates. Again, it's probably being pulled in. I really like this feature right here. Now you can see these loan updates. I don't think this was ever there before. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe it was, but this is cool. So you can see what's going on. I mean, I don't really pay too much mind to these things because Lumpad is such a set and forget investment that I don't feel the need to really keep up on every single loan. And they have too many to keep up on anyways. But yeah, it shows you here live loans, upcoming loans, and repaid loans. Here's repaid loans. You can see just in April and March, they've got quite a few that have been repaid. So I think this is really positive upgrades that Loanpad have made, especially the £10 minimum. That's a huge one. Especially if you're a smaller investor, you maybe only have £2,000 in there. It took quite a while to get back to that £10 minimum to get reinvested. So now you don't have to worry about that anymore. So bravo to Loanpad. I wish I had do I have a sound effect that I can play? Hang on. Hopefully it doesn't blow your eardrums. A little victory horn. So bravo for Loanpad for upgrading. Let's take a look at the Trading 212 portfolio, shall we? Is that okay? Here we go. No, that is not the Trading 212. Here we go. The Trading 212 portfolio. We are finally getting back to a decent spot. Here, £28,026. Let me refresh that. It's probably going to ask me to log in. No, it doesn't. Oh, there we go. £28,026 and 55p. That's the current portfolio. MicroStrategy has finally come alive after all this time. 14%. So look at this. Look at this 1 month pull forward from $226 US. Look at that, just less than 4 weeks ago. This thing has really popped, $170 US. So hence the reason why we're in the green, because buy and hold is the most important thing you could do when it comes to shares. If you believe in the company and you think that they're going to do well. So we've got almost £10,000 now, this portfolio, which is way under diversified. But again, it's a risky trading portfolio for that portion, offset by this S&P 500 Vanguard Index fund right here, which has got almost 7,000 in it. And that again has come up. I think we were 10, 11, 12% down on that. So you can see here the low point, £71. Now we're at 81, so that's come up about £10. And then NVIDIA again in the green. So that was below $100 US. Now we're up 14%. So hopefully this continues to go in the right direction. Amazon 2% in the green. And then even Tesla, which I think we were in the 35% down region, $216 US. Is that the lowest point? Yeah, I think it was. And now back to 288. So the portfolio is definitely doing a lot better. You could see the last month how we were down here at 20. Let's see where our low point was. 22,000. So yeah, what is that? 30%? We had a 30% drop and now we're back. So hopefully heading up into this 30,000 range. So we can give some more money to charity at the end of the year. What do you think? What do you think about the stock market? It's been a crazy volatile with all this tariff news has really played hell, especially with the car markets and all the, what's going to happen with the car manufacturing, blah, 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 more expensive parts. But still the stock market remains resilient, which I'm really surprised about. I thought it was going to be a lot more volatile, a lot more on the downswing for a lot longer period of time than it has been. So it just goes to show you there is no way to predict any of this. Let's go back. Let's go to the mailbag. Interesting letter that came in. I missed this one. This one was January 3rd, 2025. Said, hey, Lawrence, hope you're doing well, mate. Love the streams. Thank you, Tony. My son, who has been known to make some poor financial decisions. Good that you're okay letting me put this on screen. He has interested his son in beginning investing at the right age of 37. Hey, never too late. I suggested he stick to buying some index trackers, but he wants to dabble in some shares. Any advice how I can steer him in the right direction? To be 37 years again. I remember when I was 37 years old and not investing, and then when I hit 41, I was trying to think back then, my mentality. Again, when I read the book, the little book of common sense investing by Jack Bogle from Vanguard, everything kind of clicked and made sense. And when you're young, when you're 37, well, I consider that young, so it's 18, 17 years younger than me. I didn't really know what I was doing here. Thank God he has Tony to steer him in the right direction. But I look back, I pulled out my old Halifax iWeb account statement, which shows my index tracker purchases and the first one that I made. And I've shown this one before on stream, but I think it's really important to see. Hopefully you can see that, but let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. There we go. Down here, this is the first index tracker purchase I ever made. It was on the 18th of December, 2014. And the cool thing about it is if you look at the price, so this was, 8 years ago? This thing was 266 pounds and 72p, right? 266 pounds. The first index tracker. And I dabbled in shares. You've seen me dabbling in the trading 212 portfolio. And it's a very, very volatile, risky thing to do. But if you look at this purchase, look at this. I sold some in February of 2015 at 267 pounds, 39p, and then bought it back 20 days later. You see all this selling and rebuying here? Keep in mind this is the index tracker. I think I got a little bit spooked at this time, and I don't know why. You can see here I sold 18 for less than what I bought them for. You can see I bought for 280 pounds and sold for 271 pounds. I mean, why? Why even do that? It doesn't make any sense, but I did it. This is just proof that sometimes you can make boneheaded decisions about investing if you just sit tight. Right now, the price of this index tracker, Tony, and you can show your son this. The last date we have a NAV price of 2nd of May of 2025 is 948 pounds for the same tracker and 24p. So, let that sink in. That is a increase of just under 258% over 8 years. 258%. 8 years. All you had to do was sit back and let those trackers just do their thing. Whether you want to do a global tracker or this US index one that I prefer. I'm a ride or die US index tracker guy, but do what's right for you. But yeah, just sitting in one of these trackers is just so powerful over a long period of time. Now, I want to also show you Let me pull this up. I want to go back into my history here. You can see the first stock purchase I ever made in this Trading 212 portfolio. These were just free ones that I got from referrals, so I don't really count those. I'm not going to look at the Tesla one because the stock split, and I don't really know how to calculate out what that price actually was. So I'm going to look at these two right here. This is when I was doing the Motley Fool. They were giving stock buying recommendations at the very beginning when I started doing this portfolio, and I wanted to see how good those stock picks were. Problem was they have too many picks. They've got like 100, and you just can't buy them all. It's too much of a pain. So that's why I don't really like those types of portfolio advice services. If you're going to offer a portfolio advice service, you need to do it with like 10 shares. I mean, 100 is just too much. So let's look at this Alteryx. That was one that I bought back in, when was it? 2020. That's when I started with this portfolio. And I paid $106. So I was trying to see what the price of this now is. Well, unfortunately, they were bought out by a company that took them private. The last publicly traded price was $48.26. I don't know what, so that date was 2024. What did I pay? I paid $106 for that stock, for 10 of them. So if that stock didn't split, which I don't know if it did or not, but let's presume it didn't, that was a 50% plus loss, 55, 56%. And then add AbbVie here. You can see 551 pounds. So I had 8 shares that were purchased on September 23rd. That was the first day I started the portfolio. I paid $87 and 63 cents. You can see it right here. And let's take a look at the price of that today, 8 years later. So $198. So that's done really well. Let's do a little percentage calculator. 87 to 198. See how much that is. Look at that. 127%. Now, somebody may say, yeah, that's good. I made 127% on that stock. But it just goes to show you, sitting in the index tracker, you would have made 256%. I think if you show Tony, if you're watching or listening later, all you got to do is show this example, have your son watch the video, and show how me trying to pick out shares is generally always going to lag behind an index tracker. As long as you pick the right index tracker, you don't want to be doing like the Indian stock market or Chinese. I would say definitely global or US for me personally. But yeah, sticking to the index tracker was almost twice, well, it was more than twice the profit percent increase than me trying to dabble in these stupid Motley Fool share buying services. So in answer to your question, I think that's all you need to steer them in the right direction. Show them that, show them the data, and ultimately we invest for the most part to make money, to have our stocks increase. If you want to do that, I think the best way is just index trackers. Unless you know something that I don't, Tony, because I'm not that smart when it comes to this stuff. I thought, do we have another question? I thought I had another question. Hang on, let me find it. Here we go. I'm going to talk a little bit about, let's talk some Bitcoin. Bitcoin's having a really interesting time at the moment. This was a email I got on the 1st of May. Lawrence, I've been keeping my eye on Bitcoin for the last year, waiting for an opportunity to buy. Unfortunately, I did not buy during the downturn as I thought it would go lower. Common mistake. A lot of people think they know when the bottoms are, but neither they nor I know. The letter goes on to say, do you think now is a good time to buy? I don't own any Bitcoin at the moment, but I would like to start having a nibble. That word is just the greatest word, right? Nibble. Any thoughts would be appreciated. Phil. Thank you, Phil, for sending that in. A nibble. You want to have a nibble. My answer is always the same when it comes to Bitcoin. Price right now, $96,192. Bitcoin remains extremely resilient. Again, going down to 70 in the 70s. Everybody thought it was done for again because that's what people do. They think that Bitcoin is done for. See, it goes down. Actually, it went. Look at this. You could have picked up this Bitcoin for 50 in the 50s. But we had to go down to 26,000 just in April. So again, less than a month ago, it's $20,000 swing. So remains volatile. And there's a lot of Bitcoin news right now. A lot of things going on. But to answer the question the same way that I always answer these questions, I get this question a lot. Is it the right time? I don't know when the right time is. Nor do I know when the right time to buy stocks is, or anything, or gold. My timing has been off so many times, so many different things. You have to go do your research and do what is right for you. If you believe in something, you've been wanting to have a nibble, have a nibble. You're never going to get the timing right, ever. And that's really the short answer. And nobody can ever tell you when the right time is. If Bitcoin hits $1 million, you're going to wish that you had bought it when it was 96,000. If Bitcoin goes to 20,000, you would have wished that you would have waited to hit that bottom price. But again, everybody thought that Bitcoin was going to go much lower than 76,000 when the stock market was dumping, and yet, no, it did not. And people are kicking themselves thinking, oh, why didn't I buy at 50, why didn't I buy back here 54 grand? Well, it's always going to be that way, isn't it? You could say, why did I not buy back here at 16,000 or down here at 3,000 back in 2019 when it went from 17,000 all the way down to 3? Why didn't I do it? Because we don't know. We just don't know. The price of Bitcoin is what it is. And there is a saying in the Bitcoin world is you get Bitcoin at the price you deserve. So that's my answer to you, Phil. Thanks for writing in. Let's look at some Bitcoin news because I thought this one was super interesting. Bitcoin has always fascinated me in many ways, but the state of Arizona and the good old US of A had voted to add a strategic Bitcoin reserve to its finances and to its retirement fund, state pension fund. People voted on it and they wanted it. And then the Arizona governor, Katie Hobbs, vetoed it. She said no. She said, I don't want this. I don't want this. And it's, this letter. Today I vetoed Senate Bill 1025. The Arizona state retirement system is one of the strongest in the nation because it makes sound and informed investments. Arizonans' retirement funds are not the place for the state to try untested investments like virtual currency. Virtual currency is interesting. There's been a lot of backlash against this state governor saying, well, you went against what the people voted for and what they wanted, not knowing anything about what you vetoed. She apparently did not know anything, really. She was an uneducated person when it came to virtual cryptocurrency. So she vetoed it. There's a lot of sad people here, a lot of mad people, right? It's a good comment. That just means I have to buy it later at a higher price. So I managed to find the Arizona state pension because I was interested, like, what kind of things do they hold in this pension? And, what makes a tried, true, and tested investment? There is a bunch of shares and stocks in this portfolio that myself and probably you have never heard of. For example, Lumen Technologies at a price of $3.78, which would, in my mind, consider this to be quite a risky investment. So this Arizona state pension has, I can't remember whether it's $1 million, something like that, but they've got all kinds of shares in here. If you want to go check it out, you can go to quiverquant.com, QUIVERQUANT.com, and search for the Arizona State Retirement Fund and just see they have over 2,800 stocks. Of course, made up with these big amounts here of almost $1 billion in Apple stock and $782 million Nvidia, but also lots of these investments. And it's kind of like similar to an index tracker, whereas there's a lot of shares, but they don't run it like an index tracker. They run it like they're making these purchases individually into all these shares. They got Hewlett-Packard, they got Apple, and just thousands of shares. And it kind of goes to me against, first of all, this is being run by a private company. They have a $15.5 billion fund being run by a private company. So it's akin to a actively managed share fund like the one I'm always telling you is bad and that people should not. They shouldn't have actively managed mutual funds because a lot of the times the managers get it wrong. And it was just an interesting statement to me that the governor said that she didn't want to invest in something that's untested when you have all these shares that are obviously are untested that we don't know anything about. And because they're relying on a company that is buying these stocks for them, I would say that they probably, don't know much about some of these companies that they've invested in. How could they know about all these small companies? I mean, they've got small investments down here in the $1 million range. They can't know what all of these companies do. So, interesting statement. A lot of hate going towards her at the moment. People were saying that Arizona could have been the first state in the U.S. to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Now, controversially, what I believe is that she was probably lobbied by certain financial entities that have no benefit to the Arizona State Pension Board putting money into Bitcoin because they don't make money. These companies that are managing investments don't make money off of certain ETFs that don't have expensive loads or expensive management costs. I'm sure they're taking a percentage of it. And they probably lobbied against them, the Arizona state system putting money into that. And people don't like change too. So it's very unfortunate. Having said that, there are a lot of good things going on in the Bitcoin world. Aside, MicroStrategy has had a really good period of time on their stocks. Obviously, it's risen a lot. Bitcoin continues to be resilient, pulling the whole entire crypto market up alongside it. Case in point, MicroStrategy 1 year return. Look at this, 249% versus even Bitcoin that's had a 64%, Tesla 60%, gold 40%. So MicroStrategy outperforming, Google minus 2%, Amazon 3%. So that's very, very positive. Brown University, which is a Ivy League, probably I would say one of the top 10 private universities in the USA, they have emerged as an investor in BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF. Not a huge amount. I think they get about 4 million, there you go, $4.9 million of exposure to Bitcoin now inside their endowment, which is a positive thing. I mean, it's small. They've got a $7.2 billion endowment, so 4.9 million is just not that much, but it is something. And those Bitcoin ETFs continue to do well. I mean, they're taking a lot of money. Look at the size of them now. We got BlackRock's IBIT, which unfortunately you cannot buy this in the UK at the moment. I do expect that will change at some point, but right now, hopefully you can see that. IBIT, $56.7 billion of money has gone into that IBIT Bitcoin trust. It's up, I think, about 3.58% year to date. And we got Fidelity's Bitcoin fund, $18.6 billion. If you go down and total them all up, which it doesn't, well, that's unfortunate, but are we close to, let's see, 58, 60, 78, 88. We're getting close to 100 billion. That's pretty cool. Now notice that some of these are in the negative because we got these leveraged Bitcoin funds right here. 2 times Bitcoin strategy ETFs down 7.68%. ARK Next Generation Internet ETF, ProShares Ultra Bitcoin. These usually regulate, highly leveraged. So if Bitcoin's up 10%, this fund will go up 20%. Vice versa, if it does poorly, it's going to go double the amount. But there's a lot of money that have gone into these ETFs, so I would say that continues to be positive. Another bit of news financially today that came out. Warren Buffett is retiring. Mr. Berkshire Hathaway, finally, at 94 years old, he's going to step down as the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway at the end of 2025. That's amazing to me that he's continued to be in that position for as long as he has. 94 years old. He must really love what he does, so he's stepping down to go do what do you do at 94 years old? That's the question. Maybe that's why he didn't want to retire, because he didn't have anything to do at 94. But he talked in this article, it's on CNN, in the U.S. about changes in macroeconomic conditions. He said that things are definitely going to make things more difficult and that these tariffs are being used as trade, war, an act of war, and not a good thing. Berkshire's operating earnings fall 14% for the 3 months of the year. It's ensuring, I want you just to listen to this. The insurance underwriting business made $1.3 billion in the first quarter, but a 50% decline from the first quarter of 2024. So think about that. His insurance business made $1.3 billion US in 3 months. And that's why I'm not a fan of insurance, because these insurance companies are raking it in based on people's fear. But anyway, that's a topic for another time. So he's retiring anyways. He's been with Berkshire Hathaway since it was formed in 1965. They have a ton of cash. Get your head around this. $347 billion US in cash. He said eventually they'll find a place to invest it, but not anytime soon. It's unlikely to happen tomorrow. I mean, how do you even deploy that much money? It's not unlikely to happen in 5 years. So he's saying within 5 years. We've made a lot of money by not being invested at times. We don't think it's improper, actually, for people who are passive investors just to make a few simple investments and sit there for life. You know what he's talking about? Index trackers. We made this decision to be in the investment business. We think we do a little better than behaving in an irregular manner. He says don't make impulsive investments. Blah, blah, blah. He gives thanks to Apple. He said Tim Cook made Berkshire a lot of money. Yeah, so he said this has not been a dramatic bear market or anything of the sort. So interesting words from the man himself, who is going to be retiring. Kind of an end of an era for anybody that grew up in the Warren Buffett generation. Some people saying he is one of the best investors of our time. So there you go. Oh, that was a lot. I'm thirsty. Wow. Anyway, that's pretty much all I got for you. It's been, what, 40 minutes? 50 minutes? See if you have any fun comments this week. Here we go. Don't worry about the heat. It's only in the low 20s. There you go. Okay. Cool. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in south of England was Scorchio. Oh, I like that. I like Chimptaculus. Yes, a new coin phrase. Natalie Weeks is still there, yes. Future guest suggestion, a representative crowd with us. I've tried. I've reached out. I've reached out to crowd with us and had no reply, just crickets. Evening all from Spain, been out hiking all day in the mountains. Hi, Annabelle. Nice to see you. Let's see. Yeah, I'll reach out to crowd with us again, but I'm gonna take the rest of May off, so I'll send them an email before I go. Lumpad interest. I think all interest can be reinvested in either ordinary or premium accounts selected by those toggles you were looking at. It wasn't working. I did flip the toggles, and all I had was like three. It wasn't even 3. Was it 3p? Yeah, it was like 3p in the classic account. Felt any effects from tariffs yet? No, I haven't. Not yet. But I think, don't they kick in now? We'll see. Plane flights are still cheap. I think it's going to affect things like when you go to get your car repaired or stuff like that. There's always something. I saw I saw a crazy tweet. You have to see this. This really shocked me. I want to show this to you because it was so wild. For anybody that's either not a Donald Trump fan or a Donald Trump fan. This is what the White House posted today. The White House. Let that sink in. The White House posted this today. I had 39.5 million views and a lot of negative comments, as one would imagine why they would post something like this. Not to get political, but it's crazy. Absolutely nuts. Welcome to America. Yeah. But no, I have not felt effects from the tariffs. Chimptaculus says BTC looking good on the up since early April. Yes, it has. High net worth lending won their latest court case decision. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't read anything about it. Hello, Patty from France. Nice to see you. Okay, so yeah, hit that thumbs up if you can. If you haven't, that's going to be it. I will see you in England, and I'll see you back in here in June. Probably the first week, or maybe, it depends when I get back. I don't know when I'm coming back. I know I'm coming back in May, but probably be sometime in May. But I'll be back in June, so don't miss me too much. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for joining. And enjoy the British weather. Hopefully the sun will shine on you this week and this weekend. And I will see you next time. Okay, that's all I got for you this week. Take care. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Bye-bye.